Hey friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Friday. We're gonna do a fresh build. Fresh build Friday, that's what it is. We are gonna start our second 1.2 inch Walksnail build. This time, it's not gonna have any ducts in view though. It's gonna be a cinematic 1.2 inch build based around Walksnail. Won't be able to finish it tonight because I don't have, I just realized I don't have another Walksnail light camera, and this camera with like the 14mm nano screw mounting is quite a bit heavier. So yeah, but we can get a bunch of the other stuff done tonight, which will be cool. I'm tempted to just get another Walksnail light with the heat sink removed. I don't know what to do, man. Like the heat sink here, without the heat sink, the Walksnail VTX is overheat in about 30 seconds. With the heat sink, you get 1 minute and 30 seconds. So like, I would really love to keep the heat sink on there, but it's like thick, man. It's like 1 millimeter thick. Although I guess the now that I really look at this side of the board, the thickness of the on-off button here, the bind button, on-off button, the bind button here is actually the same height as the heat sink. So maybe we could build it all the way out, and then I'll just wait on the camera. I don't know what to do. But we are going to be building it with the Happy Model Cross AIO, which should be kind of interesting. We can take a look at this, see what the UART situation is, see how flat the top of the board is, just kind of like, yeah, start specking out how this is gonna all line up here, and yeah, figure some of that stuff out. There's some other Whoop stuff that needs some loving. This is the analog 1.2 inch build over analog 1.2 inch cinematic build over here, which needs the front motors reinstalled. I should also fix the BT 2.0 lead. I made it a little bit too short. I don't really know how it happened, but maybe I'll show you guys again how to make these little BT 2.0 leads. I cannot believe I made this too short last time. I mean, I was in like a super hurry, so it kind of makes sense, but hey. Kind of is what it is. Yeah, this is also a Q&A live stream, so load the chat up with any questions that you guys have got, and we'll talk through them. The other thing that I need to do is that I'm just going to be doing here while I go through the chat and talk to you guys is I need to reinstall motors on this. This is the ultimate freestyle rig on the Meteor 65 airframe, so that we will have 3 pretty much completely identical builds. One on the We Bleed FPV crown frame, one on the Newbie Drone Cockroach V3, one on the Meteor 65 Air. And then, yeah, we can just start punishing all 3, continue punishing all 3 of them, and see which frame fails first. See which frames start to like wear differently, better, worse, that kind of thing. You know, I'll throw a couple of batteries on the charger real quick here, so that, because we can fly this thing around just a little bit to make sure that I kind of want to get this up in the air. I don't have another set of 32,000 kV motors. I might actually really need another set of 32,000 kV motors for this Walksnail build, to pick up the extra weight. Right now I've got a set of 702 30,000s here. I'm also kind of tempted to um I'm tempted to put it on 802s. Uh 802 30,000 kV, the EXs, and then run a tri-blade prop. That should get me more power than the 702 30,000s. I mean, it'll certainly give me more power than the 702 30,000s, but the problem is the weight. Like this rig is primarily going to be for chasing the little RC drift cars, and weight, man, like an extra couple of grams makes it way more difficult. So I'm still leaning towards the 702s, 702 32,000s to keep the weight as low as possible. And yeah, they'll have almost the same power, I think, as the 802 EX's 30,000 kV. They'll certainly be quite a bit lighter. So yeah, not totally sure what to do, but I'll figure it out. Luckily, these motor swaps are super easy. Speaking of, I'm going to start screwing motors down to this guy here. In the chat, Northern Tier FPV was first. Douglas Otwell was next. Safe Zone FPV. Tongue Out. Scurdy Curtis. Hess Dominguez. Metal Erskine. Brandon Woodford. Frank Nicholas. Troy Prelog FP Avery. Cole Powers. Brandon's Baked Beans. Gusto FPV. CQB FPV. Expander. Quad City Barrier. Chick with a Stick. Metal Erskine again. What's up, friends? Thanks for coming. Yeah, exciting times, man. I've got a whole... I didn't realize I have so much... fractal stuff. We're gonna dig through some of this fractal stuff, and just figure out what ducts we're gonna put on it. You know, it's interesting now that we've got these lightweight frames. Kind of makes me want to put lightweight ducts on it. I was gonna do the regular old Meteor 65 ducts here, but now I don't know. Like. It might be interesting to do a set of Cockroach 65 V3 ducts because they've got the main part of the duct down lower. That actually might be a really good idea. So I would snip here, snip there, snip that. Yeah. I think I only have one of these, though. Or, actually, you know what would be really interesting would be to put the... So it's going in a fractal frame. What would be really interesting would be to put some of the crown ducts on there. Thank you, Quad City Bay Area. $5 super chat. He says, DC charger for 2S whoops. How many charges you get from a 6S? So you can just kind of do the math. You could probably do the math in your head. So a 2S battery, 246, right? So a 2S battery is 1/3 of a 6S battery. So for example, if you hooked up a 300 mAh 6S and you wanted to charge a 300 mAh 2S, you would get 3 batteries out of that 6S 300 mAh. Chances are it's not that small of a 6S battery. Chances are it's, let's say it's a 1,000 mAh 6S battery, and then your 2S batteries are 200 mAh each. So you would go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 5 batteries, but that's just the milliamps. Now you got to multiply the 2S to 6S, so that would triple it. So 5 batteries would turn into 15 batteries. So that's how you're going to do the math. When you buy a battery that's 6S 1000 mAh, it's got 6 1000 mAh pouches. A 2S 200 mAh battery has 2 200 mAh pouches worth of electricity. So that's how that math is going to work. Does that make sense, Quad City Bay Area? Good question. Yeah, so the Weebleed crown frame was designed by Zotac and Eves from Fractal. So it it was kind of designed for the ducts on the ground frame. I mean, not that there's anything drastically different. Like they're just a different. Yeah. The problem I have with doing that is that the ducts don't sit up high enough. I'm really interested in these newbie drone cockroach V3 frames because yeah, this part sits down lower. So shit, I don't know now. With the little RC drift cars, what I'm thinking is like I do bump into them a lot. I when I'm down low and they change directions, they'll come and bump into me quite a bit, and so I'm very tempted to. I've seen that shirt before, Metal. Yeah, that's an old school shirt. I forget what the story is behind that shirt, but that's an older shirt. Yeah. I wonder if on the V1, this is a V1. Yeah, no, you can see it. You can literally see when you look at them. This is a V1 crown. This is a V1 newbie drone. You can literally just see that the ducts are just down lower. So here's what I'm going to do. I have 3 of these V1. So since this is a cinematic rig, it's not really going to get crashed very hard. I think I can use one of these version 1 Cockroach V3 frames. Yeah, these are prototype, V1 prototype. And they're made of plastics that the production version of the frame is not, and these plastics aren't as good. The production version of the Cockroach V3 is a really nice plastic, just like the production version of the crown frame. Like they've really figured out which plastic mix is best. These guys here are more brittle and stiffer, but with this being a cinematic drone, I'm not going to be crashing it very much, so I might be able to get away with these. So let me see which one of these 3 that they originally sent have. Well, wait a second. If I'm going to use, yeah, no, right. What I was just wondering in my head is why I would use the fractal carbon fiber frame rather than just using one of the carbon fiber braces for these. And the reason is if I use these with the carbon fiber brace without the fractal frame, I don't have a way of putting the camera all the way up front. I got to use the fractal frame to push the camera up front. So that's fine. All right. So these are the 3 V1s. Let's see. Which one has the stiffest ducts? This one has the stiffest ducts, but they're so stiff that I'm actually worried it's gonna just shatter into a million pieces. This one's kind of in the middle, and then this one's super gummy. I would rather have a stiffer duct because I would rather keep the duct off of the propeller. And so I'm going to use this one. I'm going to cut the ducts off of this one, and we'll use this on that frame. It'll save us a little bit of weight over the Meteor 65 ducts, the full-size Meteor 65 ducts, and it will have the guard riding better on the face of the propeller there. Cool. I didn't. That's yeah. I'm happy I figured that out. This is a version 2 prototype, but I managed to crack it up front here, so I think we'll get rid of this. No, it's still got 2 perfectly good. Nah, we'll get rid of it. It's cracked. These are the other prototype crowns. Okay, cool. So this is the one. This is the one that we'll use for the fractal build. And the rest of these can go back. Quad City Barry says, greetings, King Whoop. Chick with a stick says, your hair makes me eggplant. Thank you. Metadertson says, will there ever be any value in running 2S on a rig like that? A rig like what, Metal? This that I'm building? I don't think so. 2S adds so much weight. The batteries are like a significant chunk of the weight of our builds, and when you go from 1S to 2S, you double the battery weight. Usually when you go up in voltage, you can go down in milliamp, but when you go down less than 300 milliamps, the performance of the cell itself really suffers. So you kind of can't do that. So when you end up going to 2S on a rig like this, it ends up being super heavy, and then your runtime goes bananas because instead you're basically carrying a 1S 600 mAh battery. And so yeah, it's tough. You when you're down low in the milliamps like this, you want to try to run the lowest voltage possible, in my opinion, so that the cell itself, the pouch of the battery, has as much milliamp as possible. From like 300 milliamp is really sort of the bottom. Going below 300, I've never seen a battery that performs anywhere near as well as these 1S 300s. So yeah, that's sort of the bottom there. Kind of annoying, but just sort of the way that it is. These are 702 30,000s, and I'm going to start bolting them down to this quad here because I want to make sure that we might as well fly a few freestyle batteries. Although I took down a whole bunch of the gates, so it's kind of boring in here, but we can still fly a few. There's still a few gates up, and maybe I'll pop up and throw a few gates up for us. So yeah. Hesteminga says, just swapped my motors on Hummingbird V3. DM'd you on Instagram earlier. We'll see what happens. Hess, let me pull up that. So every once in a while, when you guys ask me a really good question privately, I will ask you if you can come to the live stream and ask that same question, because it's a discussion that deserves to be had with a bunch of people. So message that I got from Hess was having some trouble with my Hummingbird. For some reason, it's acting super sluggish. I know it has a throttle curve, but even at full stick, you can hear it. You can hear it wobble in the PIDs. I don't know if it's my motors, possibly the frame. What's your opinion? All right, so Hess, I need a bunch more info from you. When did this start happening? Like, I need to know the exact moment that this started happening, because that's gonna point to the problem. If this happened after you slammed it into your wall full fucking speed, then we've got a mechanical issue. You bent one of your motor shafts, you broke the frame, something like that. If this happened when you put the different motors on it, then it's going to be related to those motors. Either your like, for example, your PIDs could be too aggressive, and those motors are. This is weird. And those motors are making the PID loop freak out because they're a lot more powerful. It could be, if you were in Betaflight screwing around with the tune and all of a sudden it's doing this, that's an easy one. But yeah, we need to backtrack just a little bit to get to that point, and then we'll be able to hopefully we'll be able to figure it out. Those motors are just temporary on there. Okay, so yeah, this is good. All right. So yeah, let me know when this behavior started, and then we can start to figure it out. If the I have my guess is that the behavior started when you put higher kV motors on. That's what it sounds like, just kind of reading between the lines. And so my question then is going to be what you said you put a throttle curve on it. I have a feeling maybe you were also screwing around with the PIDs. So, yeah, the question's going to become like, where are the PIDs? You might need to, back the PIDs off, or the AIO could be shitting the bed. I mean, there's a lot of different things that it could be, but I can, yeah, with a little bit more info, I can at least start to try to figure this out with you. Cool. Meadowson says, you must see this shirt, the newbie drone. Oh yeah, got that. Gert Jan X is in the house. He says, do you always use Betaflight for your LEDs, or is Arduino an option? More options, LED patterns. So I almost never run LEDs that are addressable. On the newbie drone boards, the newbie drone AIOs, they almost always put addressable LEDs. And then I go into the Betaflight thing and I get the Betaflight LED thing, and I get confused and I just give up. So yeah, I don't really know anything about Arduino addressable LEDs. I didn't even know that was a thing. So yeah, unfortunately, I have no idea. I'm of no help. Hess says, Midair, it started desyncing. It's completely original, everything the way it came. I have another V3 that I broke the frame on, and the VTX died, but the motors are the same newbie drone motors. PIDs and rates all stock. I'm thinking it's the AIO or motors, because my last one VTX died in a crash. I might just beat my whoops a little too hard. Hello. Okay. So you swap the motors, and then midair it started desyncing, like right away, or like after 10 batteries, or after 100 batteries, or what? I need a little bit more info. Just making sure that these are all 30,000s. Cool. Okay. Are you sure? So you said it's a hummingbird pre-motor swap. Oh, gonna try the new motors now. Oh, interesting. So totally stock builds, and then it's acting completely fine at first, I'm assuming, and then just, oh man, it is difficult to troubleshoot over the internet. Frame. So if you've, all right, so here's what I'm gonna say. If you've got a rig that you're flying, you don't slam it into anything, you don't change anything in the tune, you don't do anything. You just keep plugging batteries in and flying it around the room. If all of a sudden it starts desyncing, like if it's not like a gradual thing, if like it didn't like desync once and then desync again and then desync a little bit more frequently and then a little bit more frequently and then a little bit more frequently, if it just happens all at once, it almost has to be something mechanical. And if it's not motors, it's the AIO. I mean, you can try swapping the frame out, but if the frame is broken, you'll be able to tell, right? So like, if the frame's not broken, if the motors aren't a complete nightmare, and I mean, it sounds like you're going to swap motors out, so you'll find that out for sure. There's kind of nothing else that it can be. Make sure all your screws are tight, of course. On the newbie drone rigs, you want to be careful of the screw lengths, be really cognizant of that. But it sounds like you haven't changed the motors yet. With the new motors, they will come with motor screws. Make sure that you use the motor screws that they come with, and then you'll be fine. So, yeah, there's not a whole hell of a lot that it can. Desync got progressively worse. Okay, yeah, it's the AIO is going. Desyncing that gets progressively worse is typically a FET. Each channel of the ESC has 3 FETs, and if one of those FETs is starting to die, you'll kind of see that behavior where like it'll desync once, and then like a week later it'll desync again, and then like 3 days later it'll desync again, and then 2 days later it'll desync again, and then every day it'll desync, and then every battery it'll desync. So yeah, that is more than likely a FET that is just on its way out. And that's something that it just kind of happens on tiny whoops. I mean, Christ, we have an issue where FETs die right out of the box. That's a pretty common failure for tiny whoop AIOs nowadays. Let me hang up a couple of these gates that are not hanging right now. They're going to drive me absolutely mad to not have. So yeah, man, that sucks. But luckily, you got it from Newbie Drone, and their customer service is awesome. So shoot him a message, tell him you talked to Ciotti about it. His guess is that the AIO is on its way out. But explain everything that you just explained to me. Like you can even just copy and paste what are the messages that you just put into chat, and because yeah, they're gonna want to ask some questions, because they don't just want to replace stuff, they want to improve stuff so that it doesn't happen again. So yeah, go through that with them. They should be cool. They should be cool with you. I mean, the Hummingbird V3 has not been out long enough for it to be like way out of warranty or anything like that. So you should be good. Don't quote me on that. I don't know how their warranty works with that, but yeah, that would be my my suggestion. Hopefully you guys could hear me when I was walking around the room talking. I was talking as loud as I sort of could without screaming. So this guy's good to go. I do need to get the motors spinning in the right direction though in Betaflight. So let's do that real quick. And then we'll throw it up in the air just to see what's going on with it. And also, this will be kind of cool. I haven't flown 0702 30,000s in a while. I'll be super interested to see if there's like a drastic difference. Thanks, Gertjan. Between the 30,000s and 32,000s. This is going to be a pretty lightweight build because it's on the Meteor 65 airframe, so it's kind of got everything going for it. Let's go here. Motor direction, wizard, start and spin. Motor 1 is correct. Motor 2 is incorrect. Click it to reverse it. Motor 3 is incorrect. Click it to reverse it. Motor 4 is correct. Stop motors. Close. I understand the risks. Let's just double check. Motor 1 is right. Motor 2 is right. Motor 3 is right. Motor 4 is right. Good to go. Let's now check the RPM of each individual motor. Props are not on. 85,000. 84,000. 85,000 I saw. 84,000. Great. These motors are very clean. Not many vibrations at all. All right, cool. So that is good to go. Hey, Chris Rosser put out a video testing some ESCs. Really interesting stuff. It really looks like Bluejay and BL Heli 32 really outperformed AMS. What is it? AMS 32, and I forget. Watch the video. There's some really good stuff in the video. It's definitely worth it for you to watch it, and you'll get to see. But yeah, a T motor ESC did phenomenally well. Go figure. Made by Acon, good quality stuff. On BLHeli 32 with man, my brain with for the PWM setting, it seems like by RPM is really the way to go. Yeah, so the T motor, he tested the 55 amp with by RPM for the high setting. I watched the video. I'm gonna massacre it. I forget what the metric was that it did better on it. It had to do with accelerating the prop, but it accelerated the prop twice as quickly as AM32, not AMS32, AM32. So yeah, Fun Per Volt says a lot of sad BL32 users today. LOL. I don't know. I mean, BLHeli 32 on the T-Motor ESC performed just as good as Bluejay. So, yeah. And it was more efficient. BLHeli 32 was more efficient than Bluejay. So, BLHeli 32 is still the GOAT. It was really cool to see that. I was really happy that AM32 didn't outperform it, because changing over to AM32 is kind of a pain in the ass. And yeah, got lots of rigs with BLHeli 32, so that was kind of cool. I need propellers for this, and I just put them all away, didn't I? Of course I did. Why would I not have just put them all away? I just organized all my Tiny Whoop stuff last night, actually. I've been meaning to do it for a while, and yeah, I finally got around to it. So let's just, there we go. That made life easy. I knew exactly where to go to get the thing that I needed. Okay, so there's some props on here, and we will see what this 0702 30,000 kV life is all about. We will revisit it. High right propeller, and then we got another high right propeller. I need a high left. There's one. And now I need a second one. Where is it? Second high left propeller. Is that it? Is that the one? Nope, that's another high right. Come on. There it is. All right, 4 fresh propellers. And let's get this thing up in the air real quick here. Everything else should be fine. The rig should be good to go. Put this over here. And okay, sweet. What else? Hey, over on my Instagram is the footage from the finished edit, actually, from the gig rather that I did on Wednesday, if you want to check that out, if you haven't already. These props are fitting really loose, so I'm going to do the little trick here. And the trick is to ruin your fine-tipped pair of tweezers. Take your tweezers that you don't love, that have really sharp tips. Take your propeller, go in at a 45-degree angle to the mounting hole, and just run it around while you push on it. What you're trying to do is leave a big dig in the plastic. You're trying to dig into the plastic, and when you dig in, the outsides are gonna. When you dig into the plastic, you're gonna dig here, and the outsides are gonna poof up, and then those outsides are gonna ride on the shaft of the motor shaft, and yeah, give it a little bit more grip in there. It works unbelievably well. You'll see what I mean. No more screwing around with super glue. And if you don't do it enough, you can just do it again. And you, like, I've never done this too much. Like, I've never done this too hard to the point where the propeller won't go back on. Eventually you have to do this again, because every time you put the prop on to the metal motor shaft, the metal is harder than the plastic, so it flattens the plastic back out on the inside. But man, it works for a while. Like, this is absolutely my favorite method of getting these props to bite on the motor shafts a little bit better. The only thing you want to make sure is you don't stab yourself with your fine-tipped tweezers, because boy, oh boy, does it hurt like hell. So just be careful when you're doing this. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And you'll just feel it. Like, you'll feel when you're putting the prop on. Like, you have to put actual pressure on it now. And that's what you want. So, yeah, shit. Okay. So we've got 3 Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoops now. One of them has slightly lower kV motors, but that's okay. Well, is it? Let's find out right now, actually. I'll let you know in a minute if it's okay. There's a chance that I'll be ordering 2 sets of 0702 32,500 kV motors from Weebleed. I'll let you know in a minute. I'm pretty sure I need a set for this fractal rig, at the very least. Hey, look at that. Wipe this camera off. And away we shall go. Too much up tilt. Let's get that pushed down. And hold on to lock in this lower up tilt. I just need to screw this screw in, and then we're going to screw that screw in. There we go. Do we have a little bit of duct in view? Yes, we do. That's still a little bit more up tilt than I would want, but beggars can't be choosers, yo. As long as I have a little bit of the duct in view, I'm going to be all right. Okay, let's see how this is. Seems all right. Hey. All right. So, Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop with 30,000 kV motors rather than 32,000 kV motors. Oh, what in the world? Oh, no. I hate when I crash under here. No, no. Fuck! Hold on. Where you at, little fella? Is that you? I found it. I found it. I got it. Oh, boy. No. Oh, boy. Okay. All right. All right. I used the beeper on that one. Woo! Okay, here we go. Great. Oh my God, what's happening? Come on. All right, let's take it easy here. So, one thing I'm immediately noticing is that the tune that's on here is fine. Let's take a quick look at where it's at. D gains are up at 1 point. Wow, the tune is pretty weak. Let's push the tune a little bit. Let me make sure that the master multiplier is cranked up quite a bit. We don't need that master multiplier jacked up like that. So let's pull that down. 0 prop. Oh, fuck you. 0 prop wash. So the tune is aggressive enough. A little bit. Little tiny bit there. Whoa! That was a little desync. Okay. Stop it. No, no, no. Yes. Come on, man. Cool. Yeah, buddies. Oh, you bastard. Oh, you bastard. Oh my god, why does this happen? Like, how is it even possible? God, it's so crisp and I cannot get over the performance that these things have. Oh my god, not a good day for flying. Not a good night for flying, yo. Not a good night for flying. I ain't gonna be able to come out of here. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy. Put the beeper on. Hey, there it is. Interesting. We're gonna weigh all three of these in a minute. Let's kill this battery though. You son of a bitch. Look, like, how is it that the gap to get through this thing is like 2.5 feet, and then the thickness of the thing is like 2.5 inches, and yet I just hit the bottom of it every time, or I hit myself in the face, you know, either or. Like, how? How is it possible? Shouldn't it go through it more often than it smashes into it? Man, I ran this battery down a little bit low. Or is it just me? Maybe it's just me. It's probably just me. Oh boy, yeah, I ran that battery down to Chinatown. Okay. Let me throw another battery through this just for the sake of adjusting to 30,000 kV. I gotta be honest though, I don't feel much of a difference. Hestaming says, I think you're spot on with the AIO dying. It still wants to just fall out of the air, full throttle, and fully charged nitro nectar. Yeah, definitely get in touch with Newbie Drone. That doesn't sound right. Freelager says you need more power. I don't know if I do. I don't think I do. Like, this is... See what I'm fucking saying? Like, why? Whoa, what happened to this battery? Speaking of batteries dying, Jesus. It was fully charged, wasn't it? Oh yeah, look at it. Look at the battery bouncing back up, 3.94. So this battery is done. I'm gonna get rid of this battery. This is a green markered battery, so this is a fairly new battery. But I must have hurt it at some point. I must have over discharged it, and it is hurt, so it will go away. I'm not playing that game with these batteries anymore. So let's throw another one on here real quick. I'm blown away by how much stank this thing has with 30,000 kV motors. I am gonna try the 32s in a minute to see if it's just, you know, see if I can really tell a difference. I have a feeling I will be able to, but Oh, yes. Come on, man. Great. I have a hunch that... Oh my god, why me? I have a hunch that... It's not super noticeable. No! Oh, no! That was just me flying like a donkey. Impossible power loop! Right into the drum set, just right into it. We're getting this frame caught up though on. On crashes, which is a big part of what we're doing here. I'm not like trying to I'm not trying to I don't know, man. Just pretend like I said something now that makes sense. I'm not trying to, etc., etc., etc. I'm going to do half this battery, and then we're going to switch to the 32,500 kV. Well, hold on. Actually. I want to weigh these, and we're going to back-to-back this one with whichever is closest in weight. Cool. What the fuck? All right, so here's my fancy new scale. The one that we've been flying, Meteor 65 airframe, Modula 6 ELRS, BT 2.0 conversion, tinywhoop.com 0702 30,000 kV motors. True RC Singularity ultra short antenna. 18.40 grams. 18.4. Same exact setup. 32,500 kV motors in the crown frame. The Weebleed FPV crown frame, which is still a prototype. 19.4. Yeah, 19.4 grams. Wow. 18.4 and 19.4. And they're identical. I don't understand. The different generations of these Modula 6 ELRS AIOs are different weights. And then the one in the Cockroach V3 frame is 18.97 grams. So 18.97, 18.42. Why is this one so heavy? 19.4. Why is this so heavy? Has to be the AIO. Everything else is the same. Has to be the AIO. So I'm going to test these two because they're the closest in weight, and I want to try to really feel the difference in these motors. So another battery through the one that we've been flying just to continue to dial in on it, and then we'll swap over and we'll see. Crazy that there's a full gram weight difference. I mean, the Meteor 65 airframe is the lightest. It is definitely lighter, but it's not that much lighter. Okay. 30,000 kV motors again. Whoa. It was just oscillating a little bit. And when it does that on a freshly charged battery, and then it goes away, basically what that means is that you're at the absolute limit of the tune. So let me back the tune off just a tiny little bit. And I'm going to do that by pulling the master multiplier down just to 1.0. And then I'm actually going to go in and push the D gains up just a little bit. And now... yeah, now we're good. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Easy, easy. Woo, boy. Ah! Yeah. Pry-posh handling is good. What a shitty power loop attempt. But stuff like that, like if what I'm trying to like look for is like, am I coming up? What's happening? What's the video situation? Did I knock the antenna off? Maybe. Antenna, have you come unplugged? Nope. What? What's going on? Why'd the video go so shitty? That was weird. Yeah, the antenna's fine. Huh. Let's, what the hell? So that looks electrical noisy. Although, it's also, things are happening as I bump into stuff. God damn it. Jesus. Wow. Okay. I think this AIO is about to shit the bed. Because the antenna's fine. And it was fine a second ago. Ah! It was going so well. Oh, fuck. Not my night, man. Not my night. That's okay. Let's just run the rest of this battery down, and then we're going to switch over to that other rig anyway. I think I'm kind of in the ballpark with the amount of power that these 30,000s make. See, like the image is getting darker when it's flicking in and out like that. That kind of actually makes me wonder if the OSD chip, one of the legs is broken off the OSD chip. That's something that does happen. Man, I apologize for my piss poor flying tonight. Jesus Christ. Great. Let's not grenade this battery. Yeah, I think this AIO is going to let go at some point here. That kind of sucks. But with how hard we pound on these things, like, I really can't give them too much shit for exploding like this as often as they do. All right, now we're going over to the 32,000 kV 0702s. Let's see if there's a drastic difference. This rig is a little bit heavier, actually. And it's in a... Whoa, what's going on? I'm having some video issues. You guys getting those same video issues? Yeah, you are. What is going on? This is a different rig that I just plugged in. It's not doing the weird flickery shit, but there's like... Is there something else on this channel? What the hell's going on? It's almost like this channel is the problem. You know what I mean? Like, is somebody else plugged in on R8 next door or some shit? What the hell's happening? Okay, let's just smash into the cymbals. That's a great idea. Yeah, 32,000s have more power. I can just tell on these like quick little power loops. Like I can just with the 32,000s, it's similar to like 5-inch rigs where you can just blip the throttle and get all the throw that you need. And so so the game becomes you're gonna like blip the throttle with the same timing, but the game becomes when you blip the throttle so that you get enough height, right? Like you want enough downward thrust to throw it up enough. But then you want enough rearward thrust to man, I don't. Oh my god. Woo, boy. You want enough rearward thrust to kill your forward momentum and throw it back far enough. Jesus Christ, man. It's crash testing. What we're doing is crash testing. This is what we want. Nope. But yeah, the 32,000s do have more power. What's interesting though is as the battery sags, like by this point in the battery, they really don't have more power. Good. Yay! Fall to your death. So yeah, the 30,000 kV motors are a great choice. You really can't go wrong with them. Or 29,500 or 28,500. Like the whole 32,500 thing, like it's awesome. I think it's absolutely as far as we want to go though. Like it really seems to be the point of diminishing returns, which is cool. Like that's a good place to be because then you can motor limit down to like 95%, and you're pretty much good to go. Chat is just fired up. What are you guys talking about? Meteor says, any harm in mixing a 28,500 with the 30,000 ones? Absolutely not. It will, the lowest kV motor, the PID loop will basically match up all the motors to the lowest kV motor. So yeah, 3 30,000 kV motors and 1 28,500 is going to basically give you a rig that has 28,500. The PID loop is going to limit them all 4,000 times a second, and you won't even notice a difference. You'll just lose power from the 30, you know, if you're used to the 30s. CMYK dropping the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. Freelo just says you need more power. EEDoc says need more throttle. Freelojo dropping the Patreon link. This is my full-time job. If you like these live streams and would like to see them continue, head on over to CiottiFPV.com and click Mad Buttons. Patreon certainly helps me out the most, and you get the most benefits from it. But there's also an Etsy store where you can buy yourself something nice. A Fiverr store, Fiverr page rather, where you can work one-on-one with me. Take advantage of almost 8 years of experience and knowledge and testing. And then there's a Teespring store where you can get some fun shirts and other weird, wacky apparel. What's wrong with this motor? Oh, this motor's hurting. Oh, this motor's hurting. Gonna be all right, though. There's a whole bunch of affiliate links on there as well. If you're ordering something on the internet on Amazon or GetFPV or a whole bunch of other websites, a bunch of us have affiliate links. Hit those affiliate links before you check out, and we'll get a small percentage, 1 to 6% of your order. Cool. For the sake of parity in putting crashes into all 3 of these rigs' frames at somewhat the same rate, we'll put the crown frame up in the air real quick here, just so that, yeah, we've got some, we're putting abuse into these 3 frames at an even rate between them. Because ideally, we can get some feel for how durable these frames are by looking at which one's the first one to break. It is a super inexact thing, but it's all we can really do. Fuck you! I can't believe that just caught. Oh! So, the 32,000 kV motors on a fresh battery are just crack. Like, they really are just absolute crack juice. And I will say this. The 32,500s are the first minute of the battery. The tiny whoop is just absolutely on fire. And it's fucking great. But then there's a noticeable drop off in performance after that. But what's cool is the drop off in performance basically makes them feel just like a 30,000 kV motor. So if you want the ultimate inconsistency, I think 30,000 is what you want, because it's just more consistent throughout the battery life. But if you want all the excitement in the world, and like, you know, it's I don't really mind the lack of consistency. It's kind of cool. Like the first minute, you do all big crazy throttle shit, and then it sags down a little bit, and you're cool for the next 2 minutes. And then you change the battery, and you get to do it all over. You get that first, like, amazing minute all over again. That's what she said. So, yeah, I don't mind it at all. There is too much up tilt on this rig. I was wondering why it was feeling kind of weird. So let's just push this camera down a little bit. And now there's a little bit of duct in view. That's what we want. Let me just tighten this screw on the canopy. Okay. That should be better. So yeah, like if you want, you can accomplish the same thing with the 32. Like if you decide that you want the consistency of the 30,000, but you bought the 32,000s, you can just motor limit them down. Like, so yeah, so we're now at a point where this is starting to sag, right? Look at the voltage, 3.5. But this is flying just like the 30,000s. So if you buy the 32s, you get to pick. If you buy 30s, you don't really get to pick. The 30s are still gonna feel great, and like, oh my god! In fairness, the 32s are a lot. Going above 30,000 is really gonna make the rig difficult to fly. But again, you can just throttle limit it down, and you'll basically have a 30,000. And then if at any point you want the extra kV, it's there for you. Oh shit, that was wild looking. I don't know what that was. It was like I was like, oh, let me dive the drum set. Why? I don't know. Where am I gonna go? I have no idea. Oh, the impossible power loop is just so intoxicating. 3.3. Oh boy, missed myself. I was trying to land on my lap, but I missed. All right, so that's looking good. I'm digging that. All right, so all 3 of them are holding up. It looks like the AIO and the one's not really holding up all that well, but welcome to Tiny Whoop life, unfortunately. We will just ignore that. All right, so the frame testing shall continue. the long and short of that. I can feel a slight difference, but it's not as much as I thought, which is kind of good. That's sort of what I remember when I was testing 30 against 32. So we're gonna not worry about this. I'm gonna fix this on my time. What we are going to now dive into is the fractal build. Although, hold on, let me just get caught up on chat real quick. I don't know if I said it, but if you want, I did not say it. Sorry, guys. If you want to talk to me in the chat, if you want me to read your chat message, all you need to do is type CiottiFPV into your message. When you type someone's name and you spell it correctly, it will light up an orange for this person. So Kevin Sumner did it with this person. If he spelled this correctly, that person will be looking at their name in orange. It only shows you for that. It only shows that person. So yeah, type CiottiFPV if you want me to read your message. EEDoc says the sag issue is the whole reason I use 26,500 kV motors over 30,000 kV motors. 3 lap times on decent length tracks are better on the 26,500s. Yeah, I think pretty much all of the racers run those lower kV motors for that exact reason. I've said forever that the 30,000s, the 32,000s are not for racers. They are freestyle motors specifically. So yeah, if you're doing racing, you probably don't want to go this high in kV because of that lack of consistency and because of the battery sag. Hey, on my Etsy store, I have a ton of stickers. Somebody was looking for stickers, and I said that I would show them all the different stickers so they can let me know which ones they want. I'm probably still going to miss one or two. Well, here. So there's a glittery holographic gangly gang. There's also a regular holographic gangly gang. These are all available over on Etsy, or you just message me and I'll hook you up. A small old school mat. Here's the holographic new school logo. This is kind of a fun one here. It's actually clear. The white is clear. This was a little bit of a misprint, but it's still kind of cool. Old like 90s style holographic jam. And then we've got the bigger old school logos. This one's holographic. This one's matte. This is actually a magnet. I have it both in matte as a sticker and a magnet. Small old school logo and holographic. Kill all carbon and holographic. Never give up. I think I still have a couple of these left. Bunch of nut grabber stickers left. This one is gone forever. And a bunch of these. I even have this as a window cling. So that's the majority of the stickers. There's a couple other ones. There's a CiottiFPV new school logo in the apple colors, which is kind of slick. Let's see if I have one of those handy. I've got the Gangly Gang in matte as well. And then, here it is. I'll leave one of these out. And then, yeah, I've got the apple colored CiottiFPV and holographic as well. So yeah, that's all of them. If there's a bunch of stickers you guys want, just message me. I'll hook you up. Let me know which ones you want. I'll give you a price and ship them on out to you. So yeah, that's another way you can support your gangly ass fucking buddy, CiottiFPV. F Pizzle Voozle, as no one says. Gauge Stays Fly says, good evening. Jason Brewer says, any idea why when I increase VTX power in my Meteor 65 Pro, I get more breakup? It's because, really, like, it's basically just that they are anything above 25 milliwatts, and they are just dumping as much power into the VTX as the board will allow. And it's probably like it's like kind of trying too hard. You're just asking too much of the VTX in there. It could be a sign that the VTX is actually on its way out, unfortunately. But yeah, 25. Realistically, though, going above 25 milliwatts, you're only going to get more than 25 milliwatts when the rig is totally cool. Like, as soon as it's been plugged in for 15-20 seconds, it's going to heat up, and then it's going to decrease its power down closer to 25 milliwatts anyway. So it doesn't really do you a whole lot to run them higher than 25. does something, but just not as much as you would think, kind of thing, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you're flying inside, more than 25 milliwatts is typically going to give you worse performance. The other reason that might be happening is that north of 25 milliwatt is going to create more bounces, and more bounces show up in your goggles as more garbage. So that could be what's going on there too. You're in an environment that maybe has a lot of multipathing, a lot of like metal or concrete, and the extra power is creating extra bounces off that stuff. And when the signal bounces, there's a delay, so it comes into the goggle delayed, and that's some of the garbage that you'll see. So yeah, could be a number of different things. Could be the AIO on its way out. The VTX on the AIO could be on its way out. That is a very common thing, but it could also just straight up be multipath related. But yeah, it's a pretty common thing. That's why I tell everybody to always run on 25 milliwatts, and that's why like the Hummingbird V3 only being 25 milliwatts is not a problem at all. Like unless you're flying outside, yeah, 25 is plenty. So that's what's going on there, I think. CMYK dropping the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. Jay says, can you explain why higher kV motors give a smoother experience? Like on my 27,000 kV rig, I can go real slow smoothly, whereas my 21,000 kV rig, it's really tough to get it to fly smooth slowly. Jay, the word smooth is tough because I don't know what that word means to you. I have my own definition of what and picture in my head of what smooth means. I don't think that's the same definition and or picture in my head. It's probably not the same as you. Why would it be? We're two totally different people. So that's tough, man. It's just, the situation is just that smooth can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And so, yeah, tell me more. Don't use the word smooth, because that's just a word that's too open-ended. And it just doesn't give me a lot of info, unfortunately. So yeah, hit me with that again, but try to not use the word smooth, and hopefully I can kind of walk you through it. And we can maybe figure out what the hell's going on there. Cool. I'm trying to figure out how to get these stickers into little bags that will not be all the way filled up, and I think I just got it. Okay, so we got this in here, we got this in here, and then we got these guys over here. All's right with the world again. Got it figured out. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's cool. All right. Get yourself some stickers, my friends. Gangly Gang matte stickers. Who wants them? I'm leaving these out on the desk. I'm going to be shilling these hard. My hunch, though, Jay, is that the smoothness that you're feeling is the higher kV motor being able to produce more thrust and more quickly. So the PID loop really loves low response time. You know, like when you move the PID sliders up to try to tighten up the tune, basically what you're doing is you're advancing the timing that the PID loop runs at to correct errors. And errors can be, if you're flying low to the ground, you get a lot of ground effect. The thrust that you make hits the ground and then bounces all around. So when you're flying really low to the ground, if you don't have a quick enough response time, the ground effect will like hit one side and that'll push the whoop up a little bit, and the lower kV motors won't be quick enough. They won't have enough power to correct that before you can see it. So yeah. All right, here's some more info from Jay. Fair enough. Like what I mean is it's a lot easier to fly slow with a high kV, whereas lower kV it's really laggy. Initially, I thought high kV equals more torque. Technically, yes, high kV does equal more torque, but don't get tied up on the word torque. Torque, most people's understanding of torque is from gasoline engines, and electric motors are very different. So torque is a completely different thing than what most people think it is. And most people are pretty wrong about what torque means when it comes to electric motors. So interesting. So I'm trying to think what flying slowly has to do with any of this. So like, if you're feeling a difference when you're flying slow, what the hell does that mean? When you're, I would think that when you're flying slow, it would even the playing field a little bit, and it would feel exactly the same basically. I'm having a hard time figuring out why a high kV motor would perform better when flying slowly. What's happening when you're flying slowly? I mean, when you're flying slowly, you are putting more thrust straight down. And so when you're flying slowly, it is going to create worse ground effect. But I mean, that only really happens when you're like an inch above the ground. So yeah. That's a tough one, man. One of the big problems is just the vocabulary surrounding what we're trying to figure out here. Like the words that you're using versus the words that I use. It's really tough. But yeah, what I can say is that the higher kV motors are going to give you quicker response time, and that quicker response time makes the PID loop basically work better, and it also gives the PID loop more raw power, right? Like the PID loop literally has access to more power, so it can make corrections more easily since it can push harder against whatever is whatever like inconsistencies in the way that it's flying are occurring. Hopefully that makes sense. That's a really, really, really tough one, because the words are just hard to get straight between everyone. I've got too many little ducts. So right now what I'm doing is just figuring out which ducts I really am going to use and just kind of dumping everything into one spot. So these are both Cockroach 65 ducts. You know what I mean? I want to look at oh man, you can really see the difference in the height of the ducts. My God, look how much lower Newbie Drone puts its duct than BetaFPV. BetaFPV Meteor 65 on the left, old school Newbie Drone Cockroach on the right. Let's see if I can get it to actually focus. Look how much lower the actual duct part of the guard is on the newbie drone frame. That's I didn't realize it was that drastic. That would explain why the cockroach frames would bounce off of things better. The tips of the propeller are riding around the opening in the duct at a much better place. All right, this is a Happy model frame, and these are very weak, but they're also very light. They are no longer the lightest, though. So this Happy model frame isn't really good for anything right now. I'm going to throw this away. If one of you wants it and is willing to pay for shipping, let me know as soon as you can, and I'll dig it out of the garbage. But for right now, I'm throwing this in the garbage because it's no longer the lightest frame available, and it's super fragile. So it's like the worst of both worlds. And now it's in the garbage can, where it belongs. So these are the regular Meteor 65 ducts I've decided not to use. And then these are the same, but in black. And I'm not going to use those either. What I am going to use are the Cockroach V1 ducts. So I need to cut this guy out. We're just gonna. I like to do this. I like to kind of like nibble away at the plastic so that I can get as close to the duct as possible. So instead of trying to like cut it in one big hit, I cut it in like a bunch of little nibbles. When you're doing this, make sure that the part that you're cutting is not connected in some structural way that you'll need it. I think that's only really a problem with the Meteor 65 ducts, but I'm not totally sure. So just don't go completely nutso cutting these ducts out, because you can very easily ruin one of the ducts. And then once it's ruined, you're screwed. You can't like glue it back or anything weird like that. All right. Cool. So, and I don't need these little crossfire things in the rear now either. Although I kind of wish I'd kept that on. I am probably going to replace these ducts though with a Cockroach V3 in purple. It would be cool to have purple ducts on this rig, I think. I just have to wait for them to come in stock. All right, sweet. And I just like to remove the little extra bits of plastic because they look like shit. And I mean, technically they are dead weight. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. My main concern is just the strength. But hey, let's just give it a shot. And if it breaks, it breaks. If it doesn't, then we've got a very light duct, which has the which will bump into stuff a little bit better than some of the other ducts. So we've got that. These are all of the 3D printed pieces to hold the battery and the camera. Like I said earlier, I do need to get the light camera, another one of the light cameras, I think. So here's the frame. Here's the True RC Ultra Short. I don't know how or where this is going to mount, but we'll figure that out when we get a little bit closer. Here is the Cross Style AIO. All right. What I want to see is, are these M1.7 by 10s that I want to say Kevin Sumner sent me, are these long enough for the AIO and the Walksnail board? This is one of the most difficult parts with these Walksnail builds, is finding hardware that's long enough to clear everything. So let's just dive right into that, because there's no reason that we can't do that here tonight. Brandon Baked Bean says, I want it. Do you really? I'll send it to you. Jay says it's not really a problem, just trying to learn more about tiny whoop flight / motor dynamics. Yeah, I mean, the long and short of it, Jay, is that the lower kV motors are just so underpowered that they're gonna cause they just cause problems. And like now that we've got these higher kV motors, we've got power to weight ratios that are much more in the ballpark with the other rigs that we fly, 3-inch micros, 5-inch, all that stuff. And so yeah, the with the more powerful higher kV motors. Well, and the other thing too is that with the higher kV motors, you're not going up in stator size, so you're not increasing the weight of the rig at all, and you're still getting more power. That's one of the reasons why like the 0702 high kV motors are so magic. The motor is extremely lightweight, and then we've optimized the kV, and we've pretty much got the kV as high as it can possibly go. And that's gonna just, yeah, that just works really, really well when you do that. And so, yeah, that's kind of the situation there. I'm going to put 2 of these grommets in, and then I'm going to put it on the carbon fiber frame, and we'll see where the USB port sits. I might need to use rubber grommets that are a little bit taller to keep the USB port from interfering with where the battery is. So let's take a look here. This is always kind of like the first thing that I do with these fractal builds. So if you put that down there, okay, yeah, it's gonna push into the battery like absolute crazy. So what did I do with this build? Yeah, I just ran taller grommets, and then it sits pretty much flat here. The problem with running taller grommets is you need more stack height when you do that. But with how low, man, I'm gonna need like grommets that are a lot taller. This is sticking way the hell through here. Can you guys see that? Look at that USB sticking through. That's where the battery needs to go. All right, so yeah, there's absolutely no way that these grommets will work unless like I add another grommet underneath, and that's just kind of silly. I've got the thicker grommets. We might as well just go directly to them. Getting these things out is at this point harder than getting them in. Wait, no, I do have a method though. You grab it like this and then you push through. Yeah, there it is. That's right. You grab it on one side and then just push it down and through. All you're trying to do is get like a part of the grommet to punch through. And then you can just like mash it the rest of the way basically and just force it. But you got to get it started. There we go. Okay. You're welcome, Jay. We need this. So I've got a bunch of grommets in here, and I'm probably going to need to use these on... I might need to use these on the Walksnail as well. Oh, man. You know... Shit, I'm going to run into problems here. This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough to get these separated out enough. Because I need to run a thicker grommet to keep this off of the fractal frame. But then I need a bunch of grommet up above to space out the Walksnail from the AIO. And yeah, that's gonna be tough. I don't know how this is going to work. The other thing I need to kind of pay attention to is going to be where these screws sit. I'm pretty sure these screws aren't going to be long enough. But let's just keep going. So I've got some rubber jibbo jabbos in here that are a little bit longer. And that's what I need to put on. So that might be good. Let's try these guys. Let's try these little red fellas. All right, I think these are all the same. Let me just double check. Yep, those are the same. This one is visibly not the same. This one is the same. Where are we at here? This looks like it's the same. Yeah, okay, cool. So let's try these little red guys and let's see if they're thick enough. So the game that I'm playing now is I need to find the skinniest, not the skinniest, I need to find the lowest possible rubber grommets to boost this thing up for it to just barely have enough room for the USB to stick through and not be all up into the battery. But at the same time, it can't be too thick because I don't want the whole stack to be too thick. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't. So let's see here. Realistically, I should be putting 3 grommets in, but it was so far off on that first try that, yeah, I don't really need to get the third one in there. All right, so there's one. There's a chance I just ripped this. No, we're good. All right, so there's one. Here comes the second one. And yeah, sometimes these grommets cooperate, sometimes they don't. But if you get one side started and then come in here and like just kind of pinch and push, pinch and push, pinch and push, you can eventually get enough of the rubber in there where you can then come in like this and just pull the grommet in with your fingernail. But sometimes you gotta go back and forth. And never lose your patience because you'll just rip it. You'll just rip the rubber. And in the case of these like taller grommets, you might never be able to find a replacement. So just breathe through it, yo. I know it's frustrating. Brad Mondin says cons of BetaFPV 1S AIO. I mean, the main con is just going to be that like BetaFPV does not have the best reputation for reliability, but nobody really does. Like nobody's really making a reliable AIO. So you're rolling the dice either way. You're rolling the dice if you go BetaFPV. You're rolling the dice if you go Mobula, Happy Model rather. So yeah, pick your poison. Yo, the USB port on this AIO seems to be really tall. I've got taller grommets on here and it's still peeking through a ton. What the hell is going on here? Look how much that's sticking through, yo. What? Did they use like an extra long USB port or something? What the hell's going on here? Oh, they did. They really did. Oh my god. Well, there's a big pro of the T-motor board. Their words eluded him. Their USB port is a lot shorter, but the T-motor board has a VTX built in, and I do not want that. So shit. Hmm. And I can't do the trick where you just flip the AIO upside down because the Walksnail board is going up on top. I guess maybe I could put the Walksnail board on the bottom and then flip this thing upside down so it would be like this. But then I would have to run the motor wires all the way up here. I just don't love that idea. And then also like the USB port is sticking up above the ducts and stuff. So every time I crash inverted, it's going to hit on the USB port. Not the biggest deal, but kind of annoying. And then it's yeah, I can't unplug the VTX antenna either because it's going to be sandwiched. Here, let's see. So the VTX antenna will be, well, I mean, I get to choose the orientation of the VTX, of course. So I would probably rotate the VTX like this. The VTX antenna would hang off the back like that. I would just like super glue it down, or not super glue, but like welder it down. Jesus Christ, these goddamn UFLs sometimes can just go to hell. There we go. So I could run that off the back like that, right? And then I could run this guy upside down. God, is that ugly? And then we've just got like all these motor wires hanging all over the damn place. Woo! I think I bought the wrong AIO for this. I mean, what's interesting about doing it that way is I can put this Walksnail board really flat, I guess, on the bottom here. Like it'll sit pretty low. It's like kind of sitting on the MIPI connector though too. And then I gotta have this wire come up. Yeah, no, I don't like that. I do not like that one bit. Damn. I wonder if the BetaFPV board hangs the USB port that low. Let's take a look on this one here. I'll fax this drop in the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, brother. So this is the BetaFPV 1S, and it does look like the USB port is shorter. It totally is. You can just see it. All right. So this Happy Model Cross was not the right board. But I could swap these. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to pull this apart, and I'm just going to transplant this into here. And then I'm going to use this to build onto this as a fresh build. What's cool about that is I'm going to steal these 32,500 kV motors. Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Okay. So, complete and utter change of plans. This now... Yeah, this cross AIO. So this Happy Model cross AIO doesn't have a VTX on board. So this is going to get built with a Walksnail setup. The question is what... Oh, I could put this on the 70... No. Yeah, no, this goes onto this. So while I'm at it, I'm going to change frames. To further lighten up the freestyle build here, I'm going to change it over to a Meteor 65 airframe. That'll be fun. And then it'll vibrate so hard that it'll have jello. Well, regardless, I'm starting up a new build bag for this. So let me go grab a prop bag real quick here. Okay. So this will actually be kind of interesting. This Walksnail rig might be a better indication of the shortcomings of these lighter weight frames. Might not, but it might. It might. So I'm going to put this in here. This is garbage. pH 2.0 is dead. Although I am going to use the... I'm going to cut the leads off this to use with the rig that I cut the leads too short on. Okay. So this needs to come apart. This fella I'm going to put in here with these red guys. And okay. So this is a part of the freestyle build here. This rig is going to be back, but I'm going to get much more yeah, I want to try this build in a fractal frame. This will actually be really cool because this will be a head-to-head comparison of the Meteor frame versus the fractal frame with the Walksnail stuff. So this will kind of be cool. When you do two, even if you choose all the same components when it comes to Tiny Whoops, the quality control is so bad on the AIOs that they really you can't compare them head to head. You literally have to do exactly what I'm doing right now and take a build out of one frame and put it into a different frame to really compare those two frames, which really sucks because it takes so long to do that you're not going to remember how it flew on the other setup. But that's kind of okay. Not remembering how it flew is all right, as long as you know, as long as you can look for some other like flight problems, basically. It's going to be still a really valuable exercise, if that makes any sense. I might just be rambling at this point. Okay, so 0702 30,500 kV motors are coming off. I'm also happy about this because I'm snagging these motors. I might go down to 30,000 kV motors, but I have a feeling I'm going to need these 32.5s. We'll see. This, as a freestyle build, definitely needs the 32,500 kV motors. That's for damn sure. Just because the Walksnail setup adds like 6 grams, it would feel terrible without these motors. All right. Good to go. All right. Now we are going to pull this setup out of here, which pains me, but it's okay. This setup will be back. Whoa. And it will be back sooner than later. I promise. I just got to order up another one of those light cameras. One of the light cameras is tied up in the 75mm build. That's waiting on the Neutron AIO to come back. So yeah. Okay. I need to keep some of this hardware sorted because it is very specific to things like this canopy. This is going to be annoying. I'm going to have to unmount this canopy and everything. Ugh, that's okay. Oh my god, working on tiny whoops makes me feel like a giant. Not a good giant either. A Shrek giant. Okay. This will be nice when it's done. I'm hoping that it flies okay because, man, having no ducts in view with a 65mm rig, that will be really nice. Really, really, really nice. All right. So we're going to take this setup and we're going to put it. Let me pull this antenna off. Antenna. Okay. This antenna is going to be for the freestyle build because that's what I was already using it for. I will need to swap out the camera and canopy, which is super annoying. But not the end of the world. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. It's kind of annoying. Like, I would really rather just do like a rush order for a Walksnail light, but that's fine. It's just a couple of screws. It's not a big deal. There we go. All right, cool. So this canopy. What I do want to do, though, is clearance this canopy just down here in the corner. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. Because I could tell that there was a little bit too much plastic down there just now. So real quick, just off camera on my leg here, I'm just removing a little bit of material from the corner. And then we will move on. If I don't do this now, I will not remember. I really like this Modulus 6 canopy for the Walksnail light, but the hole in the front of the canopy is just a little bit too small. So you just have to go in there with a file and just remove a little bit of the plastic, specifically from the bottom. I'm going to show you on the camera in a second. You'll see what I mean, though, if you do that setup. Like, you'll put the camera in there and it'll work, but like the camera will kind of bind up on the outside of the plastic. And yeah, you'll look at it and go, ah, okay, and you'll get the file out and you'll take care of it. Not a big deal. But it is something that you want to take care of. You don't want to leave it binding up, because what it does is it'll actually push the camera a little bit sideways. So here's what you want to do. You want to open up. I mean, you can tell that opening is gigantic compared to what it is on right out of the box. See that? These are the same canopies here. So yeah, you just need to open it up a little bit. No big deal. You'll get it. Let me try to clean this up a little bit with fire. Oh yeah, that took care of it. Oh yeah, that looks good again. Cool. Man, fire just fixes everything, does it not? Cool. So this is for the freestyle rig. It goes in the build bag. This is also for the freestyle rig. Sorta, but not really. Kinda. Sorta. This now needs to come. Oh, wait, hold on. This little bracket needs to get pulled out of here, because this is what allows the camera to mount to the Modulus 6 canopy. So these two screws and then this little plastic back piece, they need to go with the canopy. There they go. All right, cool. Now we're getting somewhere. So this is the BetaFPV 1S AIO, and I should have just gotten another one of these. I would not be doing any of this if I hadn't said, oh, look, the Happy Model Cross AIO is probably really good. It doesn't have a VTX in there. I'm sure it'll work fine. And then for some reason, the goddamn the USB port is hanging off the bottom. Oh, here, let's check it. Let's check it. Now that I have the BetaFPV AIO out, let's check it. All right, here we go. Oh, God, yeah. Jesus. All right, so if you're going to do one of these Walksnail builds, absolutely under no circumstances are you going to buy the Happy Model Cross AIO. And the reasoning is the height of the USB port. Hold on. There we go. BetaFPV on my left. Happy Model on my right. Look how much higher the USB port is on the Happy Model. That's ridiculous. So yeah, this Happy Model Cross AIO is absolutely no good for these Walksnail builds. Unless you're going to mount this thing on top, which I really don't recommend. It's just silly. This Cross AIO should be totally fine, though, in a frame. And we can confirm that very easily by putting it into a frame and taking a look at where that USB port sits. So I do have it mounted up on taller grommets here, but yeah, it's fine. I mean, you might want it up on taller grommets like that, but the USB port, man, why'd they use such a long USB port? What the hell? It's kind of interfering a little bit even on the airframe here. Hold on, let me try it on a couple different frames. Man, that's a shame. That's really a shame that they used such a weird USB port. Weirdly long USB port. Well, here's the old school Meteor 65 frame, which would be a good choice. It would be a totally fine choice. Let's take a look at where that USB port sits in here. It's better in here. Yeah, so the old school Meteor 65 frame is better than the Meteor 65 Air frame when it comes to this Happy Model Cross AIO. What's up, Technique? I should have. Yeah, let's check it on the other lightweight frames. We might as well, right? So this is the old school version 1 prototype of the Cockroach 65, and I don't think that the geometry changed at all. And yeah, it's in there. I don't like it. I don't like it in the Cockroach frame. The USB is a little too long. And then we can check it out in a crown frame here. It's probably going to be the same situation. The USB is going to be a little bit too long for this crown frame. Very weird that that Happy Model did that. I don't like it. Oh no, it actually works really well in the crown frame. Looks like the crown frame actually has the most clearance for extra long USBs. That's interesting. So what does that mean? That means that this freestyle rig, I think I'm going to put it into a crown frame. And then, like, I'll cut the front teeth off because I don't want those to be in view. Yeah. So it's either the new crown frame or the old school Meteor 65 frame. And let's see which one has ducts that sit lower. It looks like they're the exact same height. Yeah, they're the exact same height. But this guy will be a little bit lighter. It just won't be as strong. I'm going to put it in the OG Meteor 65 frame. It'll be stronger. It's a heavier build. You know, the 6 extra grams are going to make it crash a lot harder. So, yeah, let's keep it in the old school, really durable black Meteor 65 frame. And, yeah, that's like a nice solid choice. No problems there. All right, so, damn. Happy Model Cross AIO fail a little bit. I did not expect that. I thought this would be a fairly straightforward build, but man, that was wishful thinking. Shit, it's 9:05. Go get you some bot grinder, friends. Damn, we got nothing done, but at the same time, we kind of got everything done. Like, because we figured out something that I don't know how or if we would have figured out any other way. So for this build here, to be continued, I mean, I did title the stream like yada 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 build begins. I had a funny feeling that that this would be trouble. So now I've found a problem with the beta board here, which is the location of the battery leads. So the battery lead location conflicts pretty nastily. Oh, man. Yeah, okay. I think the battery leads might be okay once I have a taller grommet on here, but I absolutely have to run a taller grommet on this. Significantly taller too. Jeez. Okay. Well, yikes, bro. Um well then. I'm nothing went the way that I thought it would here. Uh let's check this. Let's check the length of these M1.7 by 10s on these grommets with this stack thickness. Nah, they're not gonna work. They're not long enough. They only barely peek out enough, and I'm gonna need to stack this up taller than this. So yeah, these will not work. I will need M 1.7 by 12s. Basically just by 12 hardware is what I'll need to be able to do this. And that's kind of okay, because what I'll end up doing is drilling out these holes that are M1.7 to make them into M2, and then I can just use M2 by 12 screws. Either up from the bottom or down from the top. And that's what I did on this one as well, is I drilled the fractal frame out to use M2 screws and sent them down from the top, and then they threaded into the carbon, and it works totally fine. So I'll do the same thing on this Walksnail variant here. Yeah. Jeez. Okay. Didn't expect it to go like this. But hey, that is custom building if I've ever seen it. So yeah, at this point, what I need to do is reverse these grommets, and then I probably need to pick a different grommet that is a little shorter. These are probably going to be a little bit too tall once I flip them upside down. And then I need to figure out what grommets to put on top of these to space the AIO out from the VTX. See, so right now it's got these offset grommets here with the thick part facing upwards to give enough space between the VTX and the AIO. But I now need to flip these grommets upside down to space this AIO out enough on the carbon fiber so that the USB lead is not peeking through into where the battery needs to be. And yeah. I wonder if I did see that Eves made a pusher. He made like a little pusher rig. I wonder if that would fix any of these problems. I would need to get the design file for the camera mount. That setup requires a completely different camera mount, but I think he's pretty. I think he shares all of his 3D print files, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think that would be an issue. So yeah, now I've got him out. I don't think I need him to be quite this thick. Well, let's use them anyway, because I can always just tighten the screws down a little bit and squish these down if they're too tall. So let me take a look, and these are the tallest. So if I just put 2 of these in real quick, I can at least confirm where the USB is going to sit. And if these are too tall, that's kind of fine. I will swap them out. Man, I'm having a hard time with grommets tonight. It really helps me with this tiny whoop shit to do it in very small bursts. It's just so goddamn frustrating, and it's so small and just annoying that, like, yeah, I'll do it for like a half an hour and then put it down and come back the next day. And then come back at it. There we go. Jesus. Just, simple shit like getting these grommets through the holes. Like, it's maddening. But there's no other way. You just have to do it. You got to just sit here and keep mashing it through over and over and over again until hopefully, eventually, you get it. Just one of those things, man. Well, yeah, and when you have to do it right next to the USB port, there's like no room to get anything in there. Jesus Christ. Please go through. Please just get in there. Thank you. Okay, here we go. So let's see if this is enough, basically. If this is enough thickness. Man, I do not know what to do about this BT 2.0 lead, though. It is like all up in the way. But what's nice is these grommets are tall enough. They're more than tall enough. They're actually too tall, so I'm going to have to... Okay. Okay. Damn. All right. So that's fine. It's always easier taking them out, luckily. Woo! All right. Let me pick the other grommets just so that I don't forget and have to redo all of this thinking here. So I need less thick than this guy, which might be these red ones, maybe. Red is also just, good solid color choice. All right. So when I look at these guys in comparison, yeah, that's definitely a little shorter. We're gonna use these reds. Okay, so we'll use these red guys. Here's 2. Should be a third one. There's the third one. There's also these black ones. I think these are a little bit shorter. They might be too short, though. But I am trying to keep the stack as low as possible. Now, let's not use these. Let's use these red ones. And in theory, never use sharp-tipped tweezers. With these are really susceptible to ripping, and you don't want that. So use like blunt nose tweezers on these, and just be careful. Like, be really cognizant of the fact that if you rip these guys, then you're going to have metal on metal, basically. You're going to have like a hard-mounted AIO in a way. Not really, but kind of. So just keep that in mind. Man, not how I thought this one would go, but part of the game right here. All right. Get this guy stuffed in here. Come on, yo, get in there. Get in there. Get in there. Oh my god, I hate it so much. Okay, this is too much. I'm going to scream and smash everything in sight if I keep fucking with this. So, yeah, I put in more than a half an hour. It's fine. Everything's okay. These Walksnail tiny whoop builds are rough. It's a lot to fit. I mean, just doing a double stacked PDB on a tiny whoop, it's not great. That's not a great. Yeah, the tiny whoop plastic frame, even just the way that these mount, it's not the best. It's not the worst either, I guess, but yeah, this is tough, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Thanks for hanging, friends. Sorry we didn't get more done, but I did as best as I could, and that's all I can really do. I'll catch you guys on Sunday at 3 o'clock, as always. Doc with the last comment of the night. He says, even for HD0 whoop builds, I prefer them on the Mobula 7 V2 because of the long gummy stands. Yeah, there are frames with longer mounting nubs that the grommets sit over, and that definitely helps the situation, but there's only like one frame that has that, so it's tough. But yeah, thanks for hanging, friends. We'll continue this on Sunday, I think, because I want to get this done. I want to start chasing the little RC drift cars with this. Cool. Be good, yo. Enjoy you some bot grinder. Here comes some flying from Rotor Riot Rampage earlier this year. What is this? No, not that song. Forever Again? Sure, why not? All right, friends. Be good. Why is this not... There it goes. Later, people!